All right, my friends, it's time for some piano. Here we go. Hey everybody, welcome. It is time for some Learn With Me, and we are learning a great song today. It's Las Mañanitas, or the birthday song from Mexico, which is wonderful because I grew up singing Las Mañanitas every time there was a birthday. So this is a favorite of mine. So before we get started though, if you could do a couple things for me. Go ahead and like and share this video. That way you know other people can enjoy it as well. The second thing is go ahead and subscribe, right? We've got our little ditty here, right? It's not hard to do. The subscription button is right below this video. That helps me measure how many people are liking the stuff that I am providing here on my YouTube channel. So go ahead and subscribe. The next thing is we actually operate the whole studio on a Discord server. So this is great because it's a very positive learning environment. You can actually get feedback from me on your piano progress as you're learning and going through these lessons. And you just get to have a good time. We host events on there. You get to know your fellow piano learners, and it's just really fun. So I'd love to see you on our Discord server. And finally, we are on Patreon. I say we, but it's actually just me. So Patreon is fantastic for creative people like myself to get a steady income, right? So if you see that the value that I'm bringing here on YouTube is worth a little bit of money, consider joining as a patron. That is what helps really keep these lessons coming, because it ensures that I am taken care of and I can provide all of the great piano content that you're looking for. So consider joining between $5 a month and $90 a month. And I actually have a special offer going on right now for my $20 all access members. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and visit my Patreon in the campsite link in my bio, okay? Awesome. Here we go. It's time to get started. So I've already printed my music, and if you're looking for the music, it's in the description of this video or on our Discord server in the Learn With Me channel, okay? I've printed it out. You can tell I actually ran out of white paper. I'm using some like crazy floral paper, but no worries, it still works. I can still read it. So I've got my music here. Let's analyze this, okay? I've got my pencil. The first thing I notice here is that it's a nice, steady tempo, sort of like an andante, around 70 per quarter note, okay? Actually, that's a little bit slower. That's more like a largo, okay? So it's not going to be a quick song, but it is going to be a very lively song, okay? We also have an F sharp in the key signature. You see it at the beginning there. That is telling me it could be one of two keys. It could be either G major or E minor. But since this is a birthday song, we know that it sounds happy. It sounds like it's in major, right? Like a happy little song. So we know it's going to be in a G major. There it is, the opening fourth, right? So G major is what we're going to start with. We've also got 3/4 time signature, which is telling us 3 beats per measure, and the quarter note will be getting the beat, okay? Now we actually open the song with an incomplete measure. It's only 1 beat's worth of music because we've got 2 opening eighth notes. If we're looking for the remaining beats of that measure, you can see how at the very end, the final measure actually only has 3 beats in it. So when you put those 2 together, it adds up to 4. So mathematically, the song works out, which is great. So now that we've done that, let's dive in and start with the right hand, okay? All right, here we go. I'm so excited. I love this song so much. And I know my parents love it too. All right, so starting here at the beginning, our very first incomplete measure is beginning with a D, okay? I'm gonna actually start with my thumb on that D next to middle C, and we're going to begin. I will say note names for a few select notes. I'm not going to do all of them, okay? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, ready, play. G, F sharp, G, A, F sharp, G, sharp, G, A, B, G. Very good. All right. That was wonderful. A little quicker than what you probably expected, huh? Yeah, I don't know. The tempo at a quarter note equals 70 just feels so slow. So perhaps this arrangement by whoever ended up doing it, I think at the end, at the bottom, it says Dario Roberto Hernandez. I think it's a little slow that you've written. So perhaps we can take a little liberty here and speed up the tempo. Okay. All right, great. Let's go through that right hand again. I'll slow it down just a hair so that you can keep up a little bit better, okay? Let's do it. Here we go. All right. The right hand beginning with the D. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, ready, play. Very good. All right, that was nice. Now, cool thing about this song is this. A lot of times when people are singing this birthday song, okay, so if you've ever been to like, oh my goodness, like an arrachera or something, or like a Mexican party or birthday party for a kid, you know they invite like 100 people. Coming from a Mexican-American family, of course, I'm very familiar with this. All the tias and the tios and the abuelos and the abuelas, they all are there, you know, having fun, having food, having a little bit of drinks. So, but that's good because it puts you in a festive mood. So when it's time to sing Las Mañanitas for the birthday kid or the abuelita, everybody's into it, right? And it's a little bit lilty, right? You're really getting into it, but it puts you in such a good mood, right? So you can take a little bit of liberties when it comes to applying rhythm, okay? Take some liberties in there at certain points in the song. You can take a little ritardando, slow it down. You can add a fermata here or there and really, really make it feel special, okay? Now, before we like actually get into the nitty-gritty of all of the fun things we can do in this song, let's learn the left hand, okay? And we have to actually find a pattern in the left hand. Those of you that have been following my adults and teens beginner lesson series, you guys have been very, very good about learning about primary chord progressions, okay? So you're familiar with Roman numeral 1 chord, your 1 chord. You're familiar with the V7 chord. You're also very familiar with the 4 chord, okay? Now these chords are the only 3 chords in this song, and they are all in the left hand. So lucky you if you've been keeping up with my series, okay? Now, because we're in G major, some of those notes might be a little unfamiliar, so let's do a quick review of those, okay? I'll switch to piano view and we'll do our chord progression practice. Okay, so in G major, our first chord is the 1 chord, and you know this very well. This would be our G, B, D, 5, 3, 1. So let's play that. Now let's do it broken. Okay, now next we have a V7 chord, okay? This is where we drop the pinky to the F sharp, and then we play a finger 2 and 1 on C and D. Let's play the V7 chord, block and then broken. Broken. Very good. Now the next chord is the 4 chord for G major. And the 4 chord for G major, you will shift your left hand finger 1 to an E, Finger 2 still sits on C and our pinky's on our G. So let's do a block and then a broken. Here we go. And there you have it, my friends. Those are the 3 chords in this whole song. It's not that hard. That's a really great thing, okay? Now let's go in and read those notes in here with the foresight that we already know, though it's going to be one of those 3 chords. Okay? Let's do it. All right. Looking here at the beginning, we open with a 1 chord. So I'm going to start right on the B. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, ready, and play. 1 chord, V7 chord, 1 chord, 4 chord, back to 1 chord, and 1 chord, V7 chord, back to 1 chord, now V7 chord, back to 1 chord, V7 chord, and a 1 chord, now a 4 chord, and a 1 chord, V7 chord, and with a block 1 chord. See? I wasn't lying to you. It's true. Those chords are the only 3 chords in this whole song, okay? Now, if we're playing this piece as written, this is ideal for beginners, okay? The predictability in the left hand with our chord progressions is excellent. It also gives a little bit of melodic freedom for the right hand to sort of carry it, right? There's no like fancy stuff going on, okay? So with that, I'm gonna play this piece as written, hands together, okay? Perfect for my beginners, okay? Let's give it a try. Excellent. This is so much fun. You guys, it's so nostalgic being able to like play this piece. I wish I would have been able to play it as a kid because, oh my gosh, I would have been getting like, you know, cheek pinchers and kisses and hugs from all of my tias and tios. I'm sure I'll still get it now at the next party after this virus is gone. So anywho, let's get back into our spot, okay? Now you'll notice we're kind of in a middle D position here. Both of our thumbs are sharing the D, okay? I'll play it slowly. Here's Las Mañanitas, beginner version, the traditional Mexican birthday song. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, ready, play. Now that was so great for beginners because there's no fancy stuff going on, right? But like I said, Mexican birthday parties are always a blast. So we are gonna add some flair to this, okay? You really want to get that feeling that the party is starting now. So this is an opportunity for you to add a little bit of just fun stuff in there, okay? Now, for any birthday song, if you really want to wow people, all you need to do is start with an arpeggiated V7 chord, okay? So, by arpeggiated V7 chord, this is what I mean, okay? Start with the root of the V7. The root of the V7 is the 5th tone of the key you're in. So in this case, our 5th tone in the G major scale is a D. So you're going to play the V7 chord notes arpeggiated, okay? So I'll show you. This is an introduction if you want to make it fancy, okay? And I know some of you do. I have several students that always ask me, how do I make this like fancy? This is how you do it, okay? All right, here we go. So 5th tone of the G major scale is a D, right? But you don't want to just start it here. You want to actually go real low and start it down here, right? So if I'm looking at the tones in the V7 chord, I've got a F sharp, a C, and a D. Technically, you also have an A, so just be mindful of that, okay? We're going to shift that down. With the bottom, the root tone of our V7 is a D. So we're going to outline our hand like this. We've got D, F sharp, A, C, right? And then you're going to arpeggiate it. So that means you're going to go up the piano. Look, I have both my hands in position. Here it goes. Cross over again. And up again. One more. Right? Or a C, right? If it's faster, it sounds something like this. Or you can make it real fancy, you know, for that Thea who's always like, oh yeah, you know, ready to dance, right? So here we go. I'm going to make it even fancier. Here we go. Arpeggiated, opener. And you'll add a little trill, D to E. Okay, now once you've done that, you notice I still have the pedal holding it, right? Once you've done that, you can start your song, right? 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 You can go straight into the beginner's version of that, right? But if you want to make it even fancier, which I know some of you do, I outlined the root note of each chord. So if you've got a 1 chord in G major, the root of that chord is a G, right? Then we already talked about the root of the V7 chord. The 5th tone of the G major scale is a D. So I put a D, right? So I'm looking here at the 1, 2, 3. Technically, it's the 2nd measure. That would be a D, right? So under the V7, you put a D. The 1 chord is the next measure, the last measure of line 1. That's a G. Back to a 4 chord. Now, this one's a little different because the 4th tone of the G major scale is a C. But in order for it to sound better, we're going to keep the G on the bottom there. Okay, so write a G for measure 4. Next is another G because it's a 1 chord. Then a G again. And then the final root for the last measure of the 2nd line is a D. Okay. All right. Let me show you what those first 2 lines look like so you can pause it later and write them down. Okay. Here we go. All right. Can you see that? Pause it if you need to. Okay. All right, now let's continue with the next 2 lines, okay? So the next 2 lines at measure 8, we begin again with another 1 chord. So it's a G. Then starting at letter B, the big B, measure 9, that's a D again because it's a V7. Back to a G, and then a D again. And then at measure 12, we have a G, okay? Now, we've got a G again because it's a 4 chord. Then a G because it's a 1 chord. A D because it's a V7. And finally, of course, we end on a G. Okay? Now, I'm going to use those root big letters we just wrote as my grounding octave or single note for each measure. Okay? It kind of puts you in the chord. Listen. Right? Don't you hear it? D, D, G. Right? Now you you can include your chord, right? So what are the notes that make up your one chord? We've got G, B, and D, right? Now I'll switch to piano view so you can watch this. This here is how I've organized my chords, okay? And then I play it like this. It's an inversion, second inversion. Then I go down to D. Then we do a regular V7 chord. Back to G. Second inversion. Now back to G. Second inversion, C, 4 chord. Back to G. V7. Then to a low G with a 1 chord. Down to the D. V7. 1 chord. D, V7. G with a 1 chord. And right there is where I like to put a fermata. Okay, you hold it. Right? The bells are ringing. And then as we continue, 4 chord. Down to the D, B7. And then the 1 chord. Okay, you see how I did that? It's, you know, you take the notes. It's like a formula, right? You take the notes that are given to you in the structure of each of these chords in the left hand, and you can place them somewhere else on the piano, right? So if I was doing the 1 chord, I used something called the second inversion. I'll show you what that looks like. So there's the 1 chord. First inversion is where you put the B on the bottom. And second inversion is where we put the D on the bottom. So when I combine it, it's nice, right? Now when we did the D, the low D for our V7, we just did a regular V7, right? But technically if you wanted to change it up, you could. You could do that. You have a lot to choose from, right? Okay, so keep that in mind as you're playing it. Now, I'm going to add a little bit of Izzy flair, because why not? We all fancy. This is Las Mañanitas, Izzy's version. It might get a little cray-cray, but that's okay. I love it. All right, let's give it a try. Last time through, Las Mañanitas. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna restart that because I missed my F sharp. Okay, I'm only human, you guys. Let's try that again. I have too much fun, you guys. Is it too much fun, do you think? Or is it like totally acceptable? I mean, it is someone's birthday you're celebrating. I'm gonna like bust that out at the next family birthday party and they're gonna like gush over how cool it sounds. So I am not ashamed of my expression in this song. You shouldn't be ashamed of your expression either. So have fun with Las Mañanitas. This was a super fun lesson to do. I like doing these like take a beginner song and turn it fancy. It's kind of cool. Yes, it's kind of fun to do that. And I'm teaching you how to do it too, just by using a little bit of music theory and understanding those relationships between those notes and the chords, okay? You can turn it fancy too, okay? I hope you enjoyed that lesson. It was like crazy fun. Couple reminders. I am on Patreon. I like Patreon. So the people that have signed up on my Patreon are like my diehard awesome people because they totally believe in my mission, right? And if you have been watching my lessons up until this point, you understand what my mission is, right? Do you? My mission is to provide high quality piano instruction to all people, right? Yes, to everybody, because there should not be a financial barrier to good teachers and good instruction, right? I see that all the time, right? Like you reach a certain point in your lessons and you're like, or like whatever YouTube lessons, and then you're like, man, I really want to keep going, but I can't afford to have like a private teacher. That is the story for so many people, okay? So that's my mission. If you can afford to pitch in and keep this going, I would love that. And so would all the thousands of people that are watching me. So go ahead and sign up, right? Patreon.com/IzzyChia. See what works for you. Cost of a coffee or, a little bit higher. You decide. See what works for you, okay? I'd love to see you on there. Next, I always say this, right? So subscribe. Subscribe. Subscribing is the easiest thing you can do to support me, right? I see those numbers and I see those metrics with my growth of my channel, and that keeps me going, right? It's like a really good mental health boost. I'm like, yay, new subscribers! But then, it slows down a little bit, but then it like goes nutso and people really like my stuff. That's good, right? So help keep me in a good mood. Subscribe. I know that's silly. Okay. And then I mentioned also Discord. So like that is where the heart of our community is. And I want you to be a part of it. I love getting to know my students, especially the ones that find me on YouTube, because like YouTube's amazing. But we want to have fun. We want to take it an extra step, right? We don't just want to watch the videos. We want to like interact. We want to be part of a community, a very positive piano learning community, right? We're super supportive and you can get feedback from me, right? So where else can you do that? Does anyone else know who does that? Is it just me? That's okay. That's okay. I'm sure there's other people doing something similar, but my community, I am so biased, is the best. Love you guys. Okay, I'm being silly now. You can tell I really like this lesson, right? Okay. All right, you guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate the support very much, and I can't wait to see you guys very soon on Discord, on my patrons list for Patreon, and on my subscribers list, okay? I'll see y'all later. Bye.